Hello, Algebra 1 students. Mr. Ford here with a homework tutorial. This is 531. We're doing problems 85 through 9590, and there is a checkpoint question at the end, so let's go for it. 585, we're going to identify the following sequences as linear, exponential, or other. For the linear exponential sequences, identify the rate of change and whether it is a constant that is added or multiplied. So, for number 12, I see it's definitely going to be a multiplication thing if it's anything. So what we should try is on a calculator, we should try to divide. Let's do 144 divided by 12. We get 12, so times 12. And then 1728 divided by 144. Isn't that a rap song? That's times 12 also, right there. So this is exponential, and we're multiplying by 12. That's the game. That's the game. Question B is pretty simple. We're just going up by 5. You can see 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. So this is plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. So this is linear. And the constant is plus 5. And that's it. For question C, I don't think it's anything because the only thing you can add to make 4 is plus 4. But then if you add another 4, it's not 16. 4 plus 4 is 8, so it's not this. That's out. And multiplication is out, too, because the first number is 0. You cannot 0 times anything is just 0. So this is going to be a neither. There is no multiplication or addition that can make this sequence happen. It's probably quadratic. I suspect it's probably 2x squared, I think. But we'll deal with that. And then question D, I don't think it's linear because the decimals seem to be increasing every time. But I do think that's probably a sign that it's going to be exponential. So once again, we're going to grab a calculator and we're going to divide. Let's do 2.25 divided by 1.5. We get 1.5. So times 1.5. And is 2.25 times 1.5, is that going to get 3.375? It is. And I'm guessing that if we multiply by 1.5 again, we'll get 5.0625. Yeah. So the pattern here is 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.5. So this is another exponential sequence. Can you guys see that? You can. And we're multiplying by 1.5. So if you suspect it's exponential, just divide every number by the previous number, and you'll get the rate that you're multiplying by every time. Let's look at the next question, which is the systems of equations. So this is going to be a substitution system because y equals negative x minus 2. So we'll just replace that y right there. This is 5x minus 3 times negative x minus 2. Careful on that substitution. Just make sure you're replacing y. Again, I want to point out this equation and this equation are actually exactly the same. The only difference is that we replaced y with negative x minus 2. Let's go ahead and do the distribution. We're going to be careful here because that's negative. So this is 5x plus 3x plus 6 equals 2, like that. We can combine these like terms together. That's going to be 8x plus 6 equals 2. Then we'll subtract the 6 from both sides, and we'll get 8x equals negative 4. Then finally, we'll divide the 8 on both sides, and we will get x equals, well, it's negative 4 over 8, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. There you go. Question 587, we're looking for the first 5 terms of each sequence. They have told us the first term, because these are recursive sequences. They have told us the first term, and it's up to us to use the pattern they gave us to tell what the next term is. So this sequence starts with negative 3, and then it appears that the pattern is you multiply by negative 2, because you take negative 2 times the current term, you'll get the next term. So negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 2 is positive 24. And 24 times negative 2 is negative 48. So you see this, it's increasing by 2. It's doubling every time. But you're also flipping from negative to positive the whole time too. The next one starts with 8. That's the first number. And the pattern here is you're going to be subtracting 5. Take the current term, subtract 5. So this is 3, negative 2, negative 7, negative 12, and so on. There you go. And over here, they told us that the first term is 2. And this is interesting. We have 2 to the negative first power. Now, if you don't know how to do negative first power, you could grab a calculator, I suppose. This is going to be, it is 1 over 2. Now, this might be a good one to use the calculator for, honestly. So you start off with 2, and you raise that to the negative first power, and you get 0.5, which is 1/2. If you raise that to the negative first power, you get back to 2, which is interesting. And if you do it again, you get back to 1/2. And then you do it again, and you get 2 again, and then 1/2, and then 2, and so on and so on. It's actually kind of a cool sequence, but does require you to recognize that pattern. Down here in question 588, we're going to be comparing the graph at right compares the gas mileage to the weight of numerous vehicles. I think as the weight increases, the gas mileage tends to go down. It looks like it's the case here. We are going to describe the association between these two quantities. Remember, this is where we're going to choose 3 words. We're going to say, first of all, positive or negative. It's an or. And the answer here is negative because there appears to be a graph going down. The next one is linear or nonlinear. Is it a straight line or not? In this case, you know, I think we are meant to see a curve in this graph. I'm going to say nonlinear. And then the last question is it strong, medium, or weak? I'm going to say medium. I guess the word is moderate. I would say there's a negative, nonlinear, moderate relationship between these things. If you were to make it linear, I would say it's weak. I don't think the linear straight line describes this as well as it could. But that's part of it. So I think it's supposed to be nonlinear. But all right. 589, we got another problem involving generic rectangles here. We're just going to fill in the empty spaces. So really the only place we can start on this one is that we know that 4x times something gives us 16x squared. Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and we need another x to make it x squared. So I know there's that right there. Now we're kind of in a rut because we have 1 in this box. Now, the good news is there's only 2 things that multiply to 1. It's either positive 1 and negative 1, positive 1 and positive 1, or negative 1 and negative 1. Since it could be either one, I'm going to choose positive 1. I'm going to put 1 and 1 down there. And that allows me to fill in 4x on this box and 4x on that box. There you go. As far as writing the answer as a sum or a product, let's hear. The sum is 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. And the product is 4x plus 1 times 4x plus 1. Or if you're clever, 4x plus 1 squared would be a way to say that too. There you go. It's worth mentioning that this answer could also be a minus 1 and a minus 1. It wouldn't change much. It would only change this to be a negative right there too. But that's the only thing. And both answers are correct because you don't have enough information to tell otherwise. Question B gives you a little more information so you can kind of figure everything else out here. As far as the 10y up there, that's 2y times whatever's in that space. That's got to be 5. Because 2 times 5 gives you the 10, and this 10y. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 up here in this box. And then down below, let's see, negative 3 times whatever goes here makes negative 12x. So I need an x, first of all. And I need 4, I think, because 3 times 4 would be 12. Yeah, that'll do it. And that means that this remaining box here is going to be 8xy, since we cannot combine the x and the y together. So, again, as far as the sum goes, it's going to be 10y plus 8xy minus 12x minus 15. You just add up all the things in the box. And then the product is 5 plus 4x times 2y minus 3. There you go. And we started this problem in class today, so I suspect that's what will be the case. So A, I'm just going to leave right there for you. And for B, we had started looking at this one and finding the slope, because when you're given 2 points to work with, you have to find the slope first. The slope between 1, -2 and -2, 5, it's not going to be anything nice. The change in y goes from -2 to 5, and that's a change of 7. And then the change in x goes from 1 to -2. That's a decrease of -3. So change in y, change in x is 7 over -3. That's going to make the rest of the problem not fun to do, but it is what it is. Now, you have a lot of choices on how you want to do this. You know that it's going to be y equals mx plus b, and you just found m. So you can at least write y equals -7/3 x plus b. You just got to figure out what b is. Probably the best way to do this is to plug in x and y. We actually know two different pairs of x's and y's. It doesn't matter which one you want to use. I got to reset and recast my screen for a minute here. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can use either one. But you're given a lot of information here, so cancel that. So you can choose either of the 2 points that you're looking at in that problem. And I should be back up in 3, 2, 1, and we're here. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 1 for x and -2 for y. And that's going to give me -2 equals -7/3 times 1 plus b. Now, there's some clever work I had to do with fractions for this problem, but basically we're solving for b. So to do that, I'm going to add 7/3 to both sides, because 7/3 times 1 is just 7/3. And that's going to bring me up over here, where I know that b is equal to -2 plus 7/3. And, to make this fraction world thing, I'm going to change -2 to -6/3, because those are the same number, -2 and -6/3. And for that, I can just add across, add with 7/3. I'm going to get 1/3 for b. So that means the final equation is y equals -7/3 x plus 1/3. There you go. You would get the same answer if you had used -2 and 5 for x and y. Also worth mentioning. I'm not going to do that, but you would get the same answer. Question B is a little simpler here because they gave us a table of values to work with, so this is pretty simple. This is similar to the previous problem, but now they gave us 5 points to work with instead of, 5 points. So we still have to find the slope, we still have to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is right here, though. They told us that, it's right there. When x is 0, y is -2, so we know that the y-intercept is -2. That's pretty nice. So whatever our equation is, I know it's going to be y equals some slope times x minus 2. I know we're there at least. As far as the slope goes, I mean, you could pick any of these 2 points and do the slope formula. For x, it's an increase of 3. I'm just going to choose these 2 right here. And then for y, that's a decrease of 2. From it's an increase of 2. Sorry. From -2 up to 0. So the slope, which is the change in y divided by the change in x, is going to be 2 over 3. 2 from the increase of y, and 3 from the increase of x. Simple. So the equation is y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Just like that. You don't have to use those 2 points. You'd use any pair of 2 points, and you would get the same fraction. It would reduce down to 2/3. And then question D gives you the graph, so we should talk about how to do it here. Again, they kind of told us what the y-intercept is. It's going to be 9. I kind of recognize that right away. B is 9 in this problem. As far as the slope goes, I'm going to use that lattice point, and I'm looking for the next lattice point that I see on this graph. Man, I do not see a lot of them. I'm tempted to say that point right there, but I don't think that is, because if I keep that pad, if I go to the right 3 and up 4 one more time, see right 3 up 4, if I go right 3 and up 4, now I'm clearly not on the line, so I don't think it's 4 over 3. I think that is the closest thing I'm going to get to another lattice point right there. So I'm going to draw a slope triangle using that as my guide. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, but careful, look at the scale down here. That's actually 4. Because we're counting by 1/2 down there on that box. And then as far as this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10. And I'm just going to check to make sure that pattern works. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's tough to see. I can't quite get it in there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think that's it. 10 over 4. So the equation would be, well, 10 over 4 is the slope. And I'm going to reduce that down to 5 over 2. So this is 5 over 2 times x plus 4. That is the mx plus b there. And there you go. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. It came out a little longer than I wanted it to be, but that's the way she goes sometimes, man. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget, you are awesome, and you are a person of value, and you have worth. Keep it up.